We left Dharamasala at about 5 this morning, just according to our plan. Actually, the trail is not that hard, but you have to lift your foot all the time over big rocks, and at an altitude of 5,000 meters, that is quite hard. Good morning. It's about 9 a.m. on this beautiful October morning, and we're on our climb up to Pungyen Gompa. That is the first of our planned 2 acclimatization hikes, which is supposed to help us later on getting across Larke Pass. This hike is supposed to take about 5 hours return from Samagaon. The first half an hour you actually trek back towards Shiala. It's pretty flat, and then from there the trail branches up this hill, and it gets pretty steep. Also got pretty interesting a few moments ago, as a big herd of cattle blocked our trail. They didn't look too aggressive, but definitely interested, and so we had to scramble over a few rocks to avoid them. Apart from those few suspicious cows, the trail up here is really beautiful though. First you climb up alongside some waterfalls, and then about an hour after you left the valley, you will pass this Kali gate and some prayer flags, which marks the end of the steepest part so far. From then on, the trail gets more easy, and you have really great mountain views. We almost reached the monastery, sitting at an altitude of almost 4,100 meters, and the last half an hour of walk is really just over a big flat meadow with hundreds of yaks grazing, horses, and a phenomenal 360-degree mountain view. whole climb up to the monastery from Sama takes about 2 to 3 hours. We hope to be down within another 1.5 hours, ready for lunch. This half-day trip is really beautiful because of this huge meadow with lots of yaks, because of the south face of Manaslu, because of the Gompa itself. And if you have a day to spare in Sama, I recommend you try to come up here and take a look. Good morning again. We are here on the way to Manaslu base camp. This is our second day trip from Samagaon. And today's one is supposed to be a bit longer than yesterday's one to Pungyen Gompa. Our guide Chandi estimates we would need about 3 to 4 hours up to base camp. That's why we brought a packed lunch, and about 2 to 3 hours down. The walk up here, so far we are about 1 hour into the walk. It's very pretty through forests, bushes, and not quite as steep as the bit up to Pungyen Gompa along the river. I expect this one to get steeper though, because we will be climbing up alongside the Manaslu glacier. Unfortunately, I was right. The trail got extremely steep. And together with the thin air here, the going is pretty tough. However, the view from here is mind-blowing. You got behind me view of the whole Nupri Valley with Sama and Shala, and with Ganeshimal towering at the end. It's just stunning. And to my left, there is the best view of mighty Manaslu we had so far. And you can also see and hear the huge glacier coming down from there. And there is, at the bottom, there is Pirendra Lake. Unbelievable emerald green color. But if you want to come up here, I suggest you have a good breakfast. Before we started this trek, I researched a bit, and I found lots of different altitudes set for or mentioned for Manaslu base camp. The lowest one I found was 4,400, and the highest one was about 5,000 meters. At this point, I can't yet tell you which is correct, but we are at 4,500 now, and I can see like 200 meters of altitude ahead, still several hikers, and there's no sign of a base camp. This is an absolute relentless climb. Actually, I'm not sure we can finish it. I and Jay were completely exhausted, and we thought about quitting already more than once. The view is still staggering though. We meanwhile actually tried to climb that hill of doom I just showed you, and we reached top, but unfortunately it was just to see another hill. We're at almost 4,700 meters by now, so we already climbed at least 1,100, almost 1,200 meters up, and still there is no sign of base camp, which made Jihe and me decide to stop here. Yep, that's why you probably won't get moving pictures from the base camp. However, Dominic and Christina decided to go up, so at least I expect them to bring some good pictures, some nice photos. So at least expect a picture montage after this. Dominic, you guys have actually been to base camp. How would you describe the last half an hour of the trail?
Well, basically, it's not that steep as before. It's just going over a ridge, but as soon as you come to the end of the ridge, you notice that you've got some more zigzags up there. So basically, it's still more strenuous, and then just finally, like the last 2 or 3 minutes, you actually see the base camp. So you still do not really know to the end of the trail where the base camp actually is.
So in the middle of October, what's there actually to see?
Basically nothing, just a few rocks lying there, and yeah, so nothing except a good photo spot.
And then what altitude did you actually measure up there?
The actually measured altitude was about 4,810 meters. So, which was also what some other guys at the base camp said, which it was. So it's higher actually than it is outlined in the maps.
So there you have it. 4,400 is bullshit. We're now almost in Samdo, our second to last overnight stop before we try to cross Larke. And we started this morning in Sama, and from Sama it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to get to Samdo. I can already see it. The walk up here is mostly flat, at least in the first half. In the second half there are some small steep uphill parts, but nothing bad, only a few minutes each. And yeah, since 10 days we were walking along the Kali Gandaki river, and we still do actually, and I'm about to cross it again on a wooden bridge. And this feels a bit special because I think it might be the last time we cross it. left Samdo at about 8, a bit after 8, and we're now on the way to Dharamasala. This hike is supposed to take 4 to 5 hours. The trail itself, so far, was not that difficult, but the thin air makes everything harder. Dharamasala sits at 4,400 something meters, and it's supposed to be our base camp for our approach to Larke Pass tomorrow. We made it to Dharamasala. Took us just a bit more than 3 hours to get there. A bit less than an hour before you reach Dharamasala, there is a big uphill section, very steep, and then from there on it's mostly flat. But then again, 10 minutes before you actually reach the place, there is a last short but very mean uphill section. In case you already gathered some information about the Manaslu trail, you might have read that the lodges in Dharamasala are not the best. This might have been true until, let's say, a year or two, but since then there are 2 new lodges made out of aluminum containers, and those are actually quite comfy. However, there are only rooms for 4 people plus, and once they are full you might have to sleep in a tent. Regarding tomorrow, we're actually not quite sure when to leave for the pass. Our guide thinks 5 is enough. He even said 6 would be enough. Now we're slowly learning that all the other groups will probably leave earlier. So we might stick with 5-ish or a little bit earlier than that. Also, our guide thinks it will take us about 5 hours to reach the top of the pass, and then 4 more to go down to Bhimtang. Yeah, I guess we'll see tomorrow. We left Dharamasala at about 5 this morning, just according to our plan. At first the trail was pretty easy, very smooth, not too steep. After about 1.5 hours you will reach a wonderfully blue lake, really deep blue lake, really beautiful. And from then on the trail gets a bit steeper and also more rocky. So actually the trail is not that hard, but you have to lift your foot all the time over big rocks, and at an altitude of 5,000 meters that is quite hard. About 2 hours into the trek there is also a small tea house where you can have a hot cup of tea if you fancy. And right now we are just walking past a second lake, a bit more greenish, frozen over, and if I'm correct, then this should mean we're almost there. last half an hour was harder than I expected. It's quite a bit uphill. It took us close to 4 hours, a bit less than 4 hours. We were quite fast, I think. We finally made it. We made it up here. We made it to Larke Pass, a bit more than 5,100 meters. And now for the descent to Bhimtang. The first bit after the pass follows a small ridge and is rather flat. After about 20 minutes it gets a bit steeper. On this section we found quite some snow and ice on the trail, and we were happy we brought our mini spikes or crampons. About half an hour after the pass the trail gets really steep. There are now 3 tea houses about 2 hours after the pass. If you start early enough and if you walk fast, this could be a perfect lunch stop for you. After those tea houses, it's 2 hours more down to Bhimtang. Again, the trail is pretty steep and all the way follows down the glacier to our pleasant overnight stop, and I can see it already. The path is almost flat now, and we're all looking forward to a hot shower after this hard day. It took us about 4 hours up and also 4 hours down. And with all the breaks we took in between, it took us about 9 hours from Dharamasala to Bhimtang.
From Bhimtang it takes about 30 minutes, and then the trail descends into a beautiful century-old fairy tale forest. There are rhododendrons, huge pine trees, and a big mountain wall in the background. From here you should also have a great view of Manaslu. When we were here, unfortunately it was hiding behind clouds. The first settlement you reach will be Ghorka, about 2 hours after you left Bhimtang. About 4 hours from Bhimtang we reach the 2 very comfortable lodges of Gorge. Finally, about 5 hours from Bhimtang, we have lunch in the large village of Gompa. From here, it's still 1.5 hours down to Dharapani, our finish line for the day, and for the Manaslu Circuit. Before you reach Dharapani, you will get to the beautiful village of Larke. From there, the pass gets wide and flat and descends gently down to Dharapani.
Namaste. Here is a really quick summary of the most important details you need to know if you would like to trek the Manaslu Circuit. However, I will upload another video very soon to give you a lot more useful information and also a comparison between the Manaslu and the Annapurna Circuit. That should help you in case you're wondering which trek is best for you. If it's already online, there is now a link at the top right corner of your screen. If not, please subscribe and allow notifications to get a message when it's online. The Manaslu Circuit from Soti Khola to Dharapani takes between 11 and 14 days, depending on your walking speed and the number of days you use for acclimatization. Soti Khola is a full day's ride away from Kathmandu. From Dharapani, you can get to either Pokhara or back to Kathmandu in one long day. You need several different permits to trek the Manaslu Circuit. However, since it's compulsory to take a guide, they will usually take care of everything for you. Permits and guide are also the main reason why this trek is more expensive as most of the other popular treks in Nepal. Estimate up to $200 per person for the permits and $25 to $30 per day for your guide. As I said, I will compare the Manaslu Circuit with the Annapurna Circuit in an extra video so I can give you a detailed cost breakdown. Consider subscribing to not miss that video. The highest point on the Manaslu Circuit is Larke at a bit more than 5,100 meters. The highest point you'll sleep at will be in Dharamasala at about 4,500 meters. The Manaslu Circuit is one of the more demanding treks in Nepal. Especially during the first week, there is a lot of up and down in the river Gorge, which lets you climb every meter of altitude several times. While the pass itself is not too difficult compared with other passes in Nepal, you'll most likely sleep at less than 4,000 meters just 2 days before crossing the pass at more than 5,000 meters, which makes proper acclimatization a bit of a challenge. This also makes the Manaslu Circuit one of the more dangerous treks among the popular ones in Nepal. Of course, if you plan enough time to adapt to the altitude and take the usual precautions, trekking the Manaslu Circuit still offers a very reasonable risk to reward ratio. Just be aware that the nearest dirt road might be up to 7 days of walking away if you're slow. Being multiple days away from the nearest form of motorized transport also gives you a strong feeling of remoteness and adventure. The fact that the Manaslu Conservation Area sees dramatically fewer tourists than the Annapurna region, the Khumbu, or even a lot less than Langtang makes the Manaslu Circuit feel even more special. Until a couple of years ago, some lodges were said to be pretty adventurous as well. However, especially in the larger villages and those considered to be the standard overnight stops, there are now really comfortable guest houses with amenities like hot showers, sometimes even Wi-Fi. In the smaller villages, you might still have to settle for more basic options though. By the way, since you'll be with a guide, you probably don't want to start negotiating with the lodge owners for goodies or discounts like some trekkers might do in some other areas, so plan to spend about $30 per person per day for food and lodging. Other than the lodges, you will find a whole lot of other daily business going on in those villages. You can meet farmers, craftsmen, goat and cattle herders, monks, students, and a lot of other interesting people and their culture. The huge monastery in Lo is just one of the many highlights in this department. The landscape is equally amazing during the whole trek. You start trekking at less than 1,000 meters of altitude in subtropical jungle and make your way up to a cold mountain desert. Manaslu towers almost 5,000 meters over the village of Sama, and the day trips to Pungyen Gompa and the base camp from there offer breathtaking views. Another highlight is the forest in the Soti Khola valley below Bhimtang. If you would like a more detailed verdict, make sure to not miss the video comparing the Manaslu Circuit to the Annapurna Circuit.
And here we are now in Dharapani. That was our Manaslu Trek. The Manaslu Circuit is officially over. However, our trek is not, because we will use the next 7 or 8 or 9 days to do the main part of the Annapurna Circuit. We will hike from here in Dharapani up to the Manang Valley and then cross the mighty Torongla Pass down to Muktinath in the Kali Gandaki Valley. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel so you can get notified when the video about the Annapurna Circuit is online. I hope to see you then.